Ladies and gentlemen, the Women's Reservation Bill, officially known as the Nari Shakti Vandan Adhiniyam, is being pitched as a historic step. But beyond the political noise, what does it actually change for women on the ground? The debate was fierce inside the parliament. Outside, does it matter? We've been speaking to a series of women achievers, and today I have with me Lakshmi Puri, a distinguished Indian diplomat, former UN Assistant Secretary General and author, recognized for her extensive work in gender equality, human rights and international economic development. Thank you very much, Ambassador Lakshmi Puri, for joining us. Pleasure having you. You know, the first question that I really want to ask you at this point is, you have broken glass ceilings at your own level. You're somebody who has achieved a lot at a personal level, at a professional level, and of course for the country. What do you make out of what's happened inside the parliament?
Well, I'm very excited. I'm feeling very fulfilled, and in some ways what is happening is a marvel. That at last we are about to inaugurate a revolution in gender equality and women's empowerment in India through this bill which has been presented, this Adhiniyam, which is saluting women and giving them voice, participation and leadership in the highest legislatures of our country, at the state assembly level and the parliament level. And that to me is, you know, a natural progression from where we began as a democracy, as the world's oldest and largest democracy, and we gave ourselves universal franchise, voting rights to everyone. We were one of the actually more progressive countries in 1947 when we became independent to have universal franchise. And then from there, this is the completion of that circle, that promise, that democratic promise that we gave to ourselves, now being at last being fulfilled. You know, in 2023, we had this 33% reservation for women, and then we had also within that provision for, you know, what we call intersectionality, that is providing for those more disadvantaged amongst women, the scheduled caste and scheduled tribe women, and we had that as an act. Again, that was itself a revolutionary gain, because for 27 years until the passage of that bill and that act, there had been procrastination. There had been so many times, 4 times actually, this bill had been in different forms been presented in parliament and somehow even lapsed. There had been all kinds of vested interests, political coalitions opposing it under different guises. So now this is about giving implementation, you know, arms and legs to that legislation, of that breakthrough legislation of 2023, which provided 33% reservation for women in state assemblies and parliament. So I really hope that everyone comes on board, whatever the debate, and let there be no injustice to women, and let justice be served. Let us also be faithful to the parliament, faithful to the fact that there can be no democracy unless half the population is equitably represented. And of course, the goal is 50%, but 33% will provide the critical mass, and from there we progress to 50%. So, again, I congratulate Prime Minister Modi's government for putting forward this landmark historic bill, her historic bill, because it's going to make her story as much as history. And I congratulate also all those who are going to come together and who are coming together to give women their due. And I'm also, I have been listening to what the Prime Minister has been saying to women achievers, and in his message to all women of India, that what he is about to do, what this government is about to do in terms of empowering women, that is non-negotiable. And I think that's the message all those who are opposing the bill should get, that justice for women, their equal representation in lawmaking, in governance, in policy making, in women-led leadership, women-led development, that is non-negotiable, that they should not betray that pact and not betray the Constitution, because the Constitution provided for equal rights. Constitution provided for equality, de jure equality. Now is the time to actually bring it into reality, give it de facto expression on the ground.
Right. Ms. Lakshmi Puri, you are saying that everyone should come on board, that there, despite the debate, you're looking forward for the bill, for the amendment bill to be passed. But there's been strong opposition, and the opposition here is claiming that, listen, this is not about women's quota or women's reservation, and all of them support it. But I don't want to drag you into the politics of it. But at the end of the day, do you think the government will be able to push through with the numbers? Will the numbers, the arithmetic really come together? Do you see that happen?
So let me just give you a little background about my work in this area. I was one of the founding deputy executive directors of UN Women, and this was the first global organization set up to promote gender equality and women's empowerment. And one of our major advocacy areas was gender parity in politics, gender parity in economic, in social, all the areas. So I have seen now this campaign for equal voice and representation and participation and leadership in parliaments around the world. I have seen that struggle, and you always will find that there will be structural obstacles. There will be patriarchal mindsets that will block it in certain, and procedural issues will be used to block it. And there is also the psychology that, men will lose. If you give to women, they will take away seats from us. And because in India, we do not have a proportional representation system, this is the only way we can really get rid of that mentality of zero sum, that if women gain, men lose. By this, this device of linking the women's reservation to the delimitation, you are creating a greater space so that there is no displacement, but you are accommodating everybody. That is what is so important about this. So, whatever anybody says, this is the way to go. This is the way to find a positive outcome for for getting this representation through.